I'm sorry, y'all. Pardon me. I'm still tripping over the last video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Couple, and I give you a brief taste of what it was. Couple buys this home, right? Older style, older model home. Buys this home. Inside, they discover a disappointment room. Immediately, just the mere sound and thought of that made me think something torturous, right? Turns out I was somewhat right. Somewhat right about that. And the whole meaning behind it is just crazy. Just crazy. Go check out the last video. Insane. Anyway, man, I gotta get past it. Mine has to get past it, all right? So, the next video we get into, man, is this ancient book found in Egypt reveals a terrifying message. All right? So if you new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, join the family, and let's check out some more crazy stuff. Try to learn something too.
In ancient Egypt, death was not seen to be a humane enough means to put an end to one's suffering. Even in the afterlife, danger lurked around every corner, and the deceased had to overcome what amounted to a spiritual obstacle course in order to arrive at Aru, the glorious realm where Osiris, the god of death, resided. There were at least two routes to get to Aru. One was by land and the other was by sea. Both were challenging enough that they called for the use of a guidebook, which was suitably called the Book of Two Ways. It's possible that this complex map of the underworld of ancient Egypt was the first illustrated book in the history of our planet, and archaeologists have...
Wait. So not only did you have to deal with the perils of death, you know what I mean? Possibly knowing that it's coming, having to deal with the mental aspect of that, not only to pass away and then have more hurdles to climb or go through or obstacles to face before you get to your destination, your quote unquote, your heaven, your spiritual place of, you know what I mean? And now you have a possible book that needs to guide you on your way there to get there safe and sound. Like, that's the first time I've ever heard of that. And we've checked out several videos about Egypt, bro. I need to hear this a few more times to make me say, okay, that's crazy. They were really doing, wow. And I'm not trying to knock their beliefs or anything like that. You know what I mean? Maybe some of us need that still.
It was the first illustrated book in the history of our planet, and archaeologists have only recently uncovered a copy that is 4,000 years old, making it arguably the oldest version that has ever been found. What chilling messages does this book hold? And what does its content mean for Egyptologists? Stay with us until the very end to learn everything there is to know about this most recent shocking discovery.
Definitely.
The discovery, which was recently written about in a paper that was published in the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology, pushes the history of ancient literature further back in time. It also demonstrates the level of commitment and ingenuity with which these individuals attempted to solve the mystery of their own mortality. An Egyptology curator at the University of California, Berkeley, named Rita Lucarelli, stated in an interview that the ancient Egyptians were obsessed with life in all its forms. Death was the beginning of a new life for them. There are only about 20 additional copies of Book of Two Ways known to current archaeologists, so the newest one is actually the oldest one of the lot. According to an article that Colin Barris wrote for New Scientist in October, it beats the previous record holder by around 40 years. The text was found in a coffin that had largely eluded the attention of both grave robbers and earlier generations of archaeologists.
Maybe that's the way I need to start thinking of, because I'm the type of person, I don't too much like to speak about death. I don't like to really think about it. You know what I mean? I know it's forever present. I know it's something that we all are going to experience, but I don't like to really dwell on that. You know what I mean? And maybe it's my thought process of it. Maybe I need to change it into thinking about, okay, that's a possibility of a new life, beginning a new life. Maybe that's the way I need to look at it. But it still would kind of down me because I don't want to leave this life that I'm in. You know what I mean? Don't judge me.
Actually eluded the attention of both grave robbers and earlier generations of archaeologists. It was discovered during excavation of a burial pit in the Egyptian village of Deir al-Basha. The ancient text was not a solitary volume like the bound books we have now. Rather, it was part of a larger collection. Instead, portions of the text were inscribed on the interior of the sarcophagus itself, and these portions have been preserved in the shape of two rotting cedar panels that are engraved with images and hieroglyphs. The inscriptions make direct reference to the Book of Two Ways, and additional objects in the tomb have been dated to the time of Pharaoh Mentuhotep II, who ruled Egypt until 2010 BC. The author of the study, Harco Willems, an Egyptologist at the University of Leuven in Belgium, stated in an interview that such coffin texts were supposed to situate the deceased in the world of the gods. This sarcophagus housed a high-status woman named Ankh. However, the afterlife instructions on her final resting place refer to her as he. According to Kara Cooney, an expert on Egyptian art and architecture at the University of California, Los Angeles, rebirth was associated most closely with male gods in ancient Egypt. As a result, dead women were required to adopt the pronoun he in order to be more similar to Osiris himself, she explained.
Wow.
However, there were some clues of customization in Ankh's Book of Two Ways. The poem hinted that she may have encountered an obstacle early on in her voyage in the form of a ring of fire. In later years, it's possible that she battled evil spirits, demons, and even earthly threats like fire. The only defense against these calamities were spells cast by the dead Ankh herself. Fortunately, the companion material that came with it contained detailed instructions on how to perform these incantations. The maps in this book and other like it are a confusing mess of winding lines and sinister figures, symbols that are impossible to decipher in this day and age. Some experts believe that the depictions were derived from images of life rather than images of death, and that they were supposed to evoke rites that were intended to bring gods or humans who had died back from the dead. In either case, the text represented rebirth, whether in this world or another. Most historians agree that the earliest types of writing appeared around 5,000 years ago, and thanks to the discovery of innumerable remarkable books in recent years, they've helped us piece together a picture of what life would have been like thousands of years ago.
So now my question is, does any current civilizations or any group of people still have those or share those beliefs about death and the afterlife or new life, however you refer to it? Do they still have those beliefs? It seems like nowadays we all just accept death as just death for what it is. There's no, okay, this is what you will deal with. This is what you will possibly encounter. This is what you will, no, all you pretty much are. And I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak for myself. Only thing I heard of was heaven or hell. This is where you would end up at. You know what I mean? If you did wrong, if you went against, if you strayed away from the path, if you went, you know what I mean? Then hell, you would experience hell. If you did everything right and to the best that you could, did right by people, went by the guidelines, you would experience heaven. There was no, okay, this is what you may encounter. This is the way to deal with it, overcome it. And we're also hoping to, if you're a god or something like that, to possibly bring you back. Like, you don't hear that type of stuff. So when did that stop and the new begin? Or is it still going on and we just don't hear much about it? Like, I have a ton of questions. You know what I mean? And again, back to the beginning of what I said, I don't even like to talk. I've never watched The Passion of the Christ. I don't like to see or hear stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It just puts me in a bad mind state. So I stay away from it. But this presents so many questions for me.
Helped us piece together a picture of what life would have been like thousands of years ago. These written reports cover a wide range of issues, but it's the ones we don't comprehend that pique our curiosity. An intriguing book has purportedly been discovered in Egypt, with the finders claiming that the book appears to be thousands of years old and written in a language that they were unable to translate. They shared some photos on social media in the hopes that someone would be able to translate it and provide some background information. A local tour guide discovered the book on the Giza Plateau, according to the man, and he was able to hold it and photograph it. He stated that his present whereabouts is unknown, but that it is most likely being sold on the black market, which is customary when such discoveries are made. One person argued that because the book is written in an ancient language, it may let the reader communicate with a higher power. The Egyptian civilization is one of the oldest in human history. The ancient Egyptians are well known for their contributions to art, medicine, and the legendary documentation of discoveries. The Egyptians were experts in incorporating anatomy and mythology into artistic symbols and figures. One of the most well-known mythologies in ancient Egypt is that of Isis, Osiris, and Horus. The Eye of Horus, taken from the tale of Isis and Osiris, was employed as a symbol of prosperity and protection. This symbol has a remarkable relationship between neuroanatomical structure and function. The eye is composed of 6 distinct artistic pieces. From a mythical standpoint, each portion of the eye is regarded as a separate symbol. Furthermore, sections of the eye represent words in the series half, quarter, eighth, 1/16th, and 1/32nd. When this image is placed on a sagittal image of the human brain, each part appears to correlate to the anatomical position of a specific human sensorium. The man who submitted the photographs admitted that he couldn't hold it for long, but he could tell it was old. He stated that he appears to be unable to decipher at least 2 languages of styles of writing. According to one source, the book appears to be ancient, and it makes sense that such a book would exist, given that ancient Egypt was known to have the Eye of Horus, which they adored. They saw it as a protective emblem, so it seems logical that you'd find it on an old book. The ancient Egyptians used this emblem on everything as a good luck charm. In terms of the book's legitimacy, there's a lot of money to be made with these kinds of findings, especially if they're sold through unregulated markets. It could be authentic, but it could also be a recreation or a complete fabrication. In a separate find, the ancient manuscript known as the Book of the Dead was uncovered from within an Egyptian tomb. The ancient Book of the Dead scroll, recently found at Egypt's Saqqara necropolis, may not be bound in human skin like the infamous Necronomicon shown in the Evil Dead films, but it does serve as a chilling guide to the hereafter. International researchers...
Would y'all read it? That's the thing, man. You can get by with your innocence and you can claim you didn't know, but when you crack that book open and you start to decipher things and uncover and expose yourself to, that might be more than you can. You might have bitten off more than you can chew. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I present the question: would you read it? It's a tough one there, bro. That's a tough one.
But it does serve as a chilling guide to the hereafter. International researchers led by renowned Egyptologist Dr. Zawi Hawass discovered a new trove of antiquities at the 4,200-year-old funeral temple of Queen Neet, wife of Pharaoh Teti. Teti ruled Egypt between around 2323 and 2291 BC. The treasure includes over 50 wooden sarcophagi, a Senate board game, a riverboat with rowers, a statue of Taha-Sokar Osiris, wooden masks, an Anubis shrine, and a burial sanctuary dedicated to an old kingdom queen, in addition to the 13-foot-long Book of the Dead papyrus scroll depicting paths to the netherworlds of the deceased. According to an official statement issued by Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, Dr. Hawass and his colleagues discovered the coffins and various antiquities dating back to the New Kingdom era, 1570 to 1069 BC, in 52 distinct burial tunnels ranging from 33 to 40 feet deep. These vast burial cemeteries can be found in Memphis, Egypt's former capital. This lucky discovery occurred after many seasons of excavations in the funeral temple representing Queen Neet's cult, which surrounds the pyramid of King Teti, the first king of Dynasty 6. The cache of sarcophagi was embellished with ancient god murals and fragments from the Book of the Dead, a spiritual manual said to aid the recently deceased in getting to Aru, the heavenly paradise where Osiris dwells. The excavation started in 2010 when we discovered a pyramid of a queen next to the pyramid of King Teti, but we didn't find a name inside the pyramid to tell us who the pyramid belonged to, Dr. Hawass said. I'd never heard of this queen before, therefore we add an important piece to Egyptian history about this queen. The 13-foot-long papyrus holding chapter 17 of the Book of the Dead, a text that ancient Egyptians used as an instruction manual to explore the realms of the hereafter, was perhaps the most intriguing item found in the trove. Puakahef, the owner of the sacred scroll, is inscribed on it. The same name was discovered written on a wood coffin and a set of 4 Shabti figurines designed to serve the deceased. Dr. Hawass further stated that this was the first time a long papyrus had been discovered within a burial shaft. The stone temple was made up of 3 mud brick warehouses on its southeastern side, which housed offerings sent to the queen and her husband. It served as a focal point for rituals and offerings made for the queen's cult in order to nourish and resurrect her everlasting spirit after death. This large cemetery predates the coffins by at least 8 centuries, adding to the historical significance of the mission's extraordinary discoveries and providing another piece of the puzzle as to the site's origins. Let us know what you think of these ancient Egyptian books in the comments section below.
Wow. Wow. Like, that's what I'm saying, man. It doesn't do nothing for me but present so many questions. So many questions. And why is probably majority of them. Why did this, or why didn't we adopt these practices and principles? You know, what made us stop? What made us different? Is it just because it was Egypt and we're here, or is it something else? Or, you know what I mean? What stopped that from spreading around and everyone else adopting that? You know? I don't know. It just seems like nowadays death is just, you know, you lose a loved one, you deal with the loss of you deal with the pain of losing them, and then that's pretty much the extent of it. You know? It's no, for my family, there's no rituals, there's no, we do this, we honor this, we do this, you know? It's just the normal thing that, so, I don't know. When did it become less important these days than it was back then? Or maybe I'm reading into it too much. What do y'all think? What is y'all take on it? Y'all get at me in the comment section, man, and let me know what you thought of this video and how you felt about it. It's your boy L. Stick around and stay tuned. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.